Let's start with a quick question. How did you learn how to ride a bike? Did you spend hours poring through dense manuals, memorizing pictures of brakes and gears? Probably not. More than likely, you hopped right on that bike, you wobbled around a bit, you scraped a knee or two, and then eventually you found your balance. That's the power of learning by doing, and it's exactly what American philosopher John Dewey championed. Hey everyone, Harry here from Growth Engineering, and today we're going to be exploring the influential learning theory of John Dewey. Now, Dewey was once referred to as the chief thinker of our days, and even a second Confucius by certain historians. So that gives you an idea of just how influential he was in certain educational and philosophical settings. Specifically, we are going to be breaking down the key principles of his theory, alongside the advantages and disadvantages of using such an approach. Okay, let's get started. So, who exactly was John Dewey? Well, he was a towering figure in American thought, philosophy, and educational reform, who lived between 1859 and 1952. He was also a champion of the school of thought known as pragmatism, which suggests that the value of an idea lies in its practical application. And we'll soon see how this came to inform his views on education. It is actually really rather difficult to overstate Dewey's influence. In fact, there are those who saw him as the guide and the conscience of the American people and of educational reform in general. And then there are others, like President Eisenhower, who saw America's educational deficiencies as being the result of John Dewey's teachings. So what exactly are these controversial and somewhat dangerous teachings? Well, Dewey wrote extensively on the topics of educational and social reform. In many respects, this was his life's work, and it's these ideas that are collectively known as John Dewey theory, or John Dewey's learning theory. For Dewey, education was the fundamental method of social progress and reform. It should help a society to produce individuals who are thoughtful, reflective, and engaged, and it should prepare us all for democratic participation. In other words, education should help us to all become better people. It's safe to say that Dewey was not a fan of passive learning experiences. These are the kind of experiences where students sit around and absorb facts like sponges, or the kind of experiences that are focused on rote memorization, rather than a deeper and more meaningful understanding of a topic. Dewey believed in something far more dynamic: learning by doing. As Dewey himself puts it, education is not preparation for life, education is life itself. There is a gaping chasm between theory and practice, and it's experiential learning that can help us to bridge this gap. Okay, with this setup in mind, I think we're now in a good place to break down the central tenets of John Dewey's learning theory. Firstly, as we've seen, learning happens through experience or by getting hands-on. This means that learning also requires us to be actively engaged. Dewey also believed that learning takes place in a social context and that it should be a democratic process. Finally, he argued that it's by reflecting on our experiences that we can drive towards more meaningful learning outcomes. So that last part is quite interesting. As you can see, Dewey forged a distinction between immediate experiences and mediated experiences. So immediate experiences are based on our first-hand interaction with the world, whereas mediated experiences are what happen when we step back and use our reflective processes. So what are the implications of these principles? Well, firstly, as we've seen, John Dewey was a big believer in social learning. In fact, he felt that our classrooms and learning experiences in general should be built around communities of inquiry, where students are able to bounce ideas off of each other, learn from each other's experiences, and start to develop their critical thinking skills. As a result, this shifts the focus away from authoritarian teacher figures and towards a more learner-centric model. Instead, instructors should focus on facilitation, guiding their learners, and acting as a mentor. Dewey's rejection of formal learning pathways led to him being labelled a progressive, but he never advocated for a completely unfettered form of learning. Still, there are those who argue that this experience-focused, community-led approach to learning is too unrealistic or utopian, And there are others who suggest that John Dewey's learning theory is too unstructured to be particularly useful. It is fair to say that Dewey's writing on this topic is more of a collection of ideas than a structured framework or model. If you are looking for a more structured approach to experiential learning, then I would recommend the work of David Kolb. But with that said, there is no doubt that Dewey's ideas continue to shape education today. From project-based learning to flipped classrooms, we can see echoes of his philosophy in action. What's more, learning technology has made experiential, community-driven learning experiences more accessible than ever before. When it comes to John Dewey, the key takeaway is that learning shouldn't be a solitary or passive experience. It should be engaging, hands-on, and social so that it equips learners with the skills and knowledge that they need to succeed in today's world. Okay, that's it from me today. Thank you very much for listening and for being a part of this community of inquiry. I hope you've enjoyed it and that you've learned something, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.